So you'll need to rip up your pieces of paper, pop them into your blender, and then leave them overnight to soak in water. Following morning, blend them to the thickness that you wish. You need a mesh, a cloth, J-cloths, a bowl and a sponge.
So I really love making my own made paper, and you've seen that you don't need a lot of stuff really. You just need old papers ripped up that you leave to soak overnight in some water in your blender, and then you gently blend the paper to make like a pulp. So you can see from my fingers it's all like small fibres that have come from the paper, and what we're going to do is recycle that paper now into a textured homemade paper. Because I didn't blend for too long, you can still see elements of the things that I ripped up, like a bit of handwriting, a little bit of typeface, which is always quite nice, and any little bits of colour. So all you need to do, this is like one of those kind of fat catchers that you get when you're cooking fried food like eggs or anything like that. So you get the pulp into that. If it was smaller than the bowl itself, you can actually sieve underneath and then pull up, and you get a really lovely even layer of the paper pulp. But I've just laid this on top to show you, and then you need a J-cloth, which I've applied, and you'll just need a simple sponge, and you turn that over onto your J-cloth. It won't fall off because it's kind of slightly stuck on, and all you do is to take out the residual water from the paper pulp itself, and you can just squeeze that back into the bowl. So it's super easy to do, and this paper, when it's dry, and I shall show you some examples when it's dry, can be used to draw on. It has a little bit of a tooth, so you've got a bit of a texture to work on, or you can use it to embed things into it when it's slightly wet. So you can put things like lovely sort of shells and use the pulp to kind of mould around a shell, and then you pull the shell out when it's dry. Or this is really lovely actually if you do any sort of paper embroidery, just to do some embroidery and some stitch work on top of. It works, it's really forgiving surface for that because it dries fairly coarse, fairly thick. So yeah, there are a few different ways that you can use it once it's dry, and you know, really it's your imagination. But you can also, when it's slightly drier, you could put your J-cloth over with the paper on over the top of a mould, something like a bowl, and leave it to dry completely solid over the top, pull it off, and then you would have a homemade bowl that you could then PVA on the inside. You obviously wouldn't be able to put anything wet in it, but you could use it as a container for rubbers or for some paper clips or something like that. So, you know, it's really your imagination into how you actually want to use your homemade, handmade paper. And I hope you enjoyed that little video.